Okay, I realized the last video didn't have any sound, so I'm going to redo this with sound. You guys are so picky. You want to be able to hear what I say. I can't believe it. So here's one of the questions that people are having trouble with on the 1.1 eTicket. So there's two parts to this. They want to know what the limit is, and then they want to know what the domain is, right? So first of all, to find the limit, we're just going to go to Desmos. And we'll talk a little more about this in class today as well, or tomorrow. But if I go to Desmos, darn it, I can just build this function using function notation. So f of x, so I can evaluate it. I got to use function notation so I can plug in values of x. And then if I highlight everything and hit divide, it puts it all on the top. So there's my function. I'm looking in the vicinity. I'm trying to find the limit at 0. So look, if we focus in here at x equals 0, we can see that when we approach 0 from both sides, we're approaching the same value. We just need to know what that value is, right? So that's where we can put in, we can evaluate the function at values of x that are going to help us out. So if I were to go, for example, 0.1, f of 0.1, the function is negative 0.12210. Well, I don't know if that's close enough. So if I just keep getting closer and closer and closer to 0, we can see that our answer starts converging on values closer and closer and closer to the actual limit. But it doesn't really matter because we're only rounding our answer to 2 decimal places, and clearly it's not going to change. It's negative 0.01 to 2 places no matter how close I go. And if I go on the other side of 0, like at a negative number that's very close to 0, I get the same thing, right? The same thing happening. So our limit here, Desmos tells us that numerically, that our limit to 2 decimal places is negative 0.01. So that's going to be my first answer. So that's what I would want to input into Moodle here then. And I'm going to go ahead and use the equation editor because it's so much easier to format this properly. So the first part is just going to be negative 0.01. This is what I would be inputting into Moodle. I'm going to be separating the solutions with commas, which it tells me to do up in the top. The two answers. So the first answer is negative 0.01. What about the second answer? What's the domain? Well, we can see there are 2 values of x here that have to be excluded. I've got a fraction in the numerator that has an x plus 9 in the denominator. Well, we can never divide by 0. So that fraction up here, and let me just make this really clear. I'm going to put a box around it so we can all see what I'm talking about. So I'm talking about this fraction right there. Okay. That's going to prevent us from having a negative 9 in our domain because that would force that to have a 0 on the bottom. Okay, let's get rid of that box. So our answer is going to have to include, it's going to have to exclude the negative 9, and I've got another x here on the bottom, so we'll have to exclude 0. So many of you, I think, did it this way, and this would normally be right. We would say x is less than negative 9, or, where's the or? There it is. Or x is greater than negative 9 and less than 0. So we're going to skip over negative 9. And there, x is greater than negative 9 and less than 0. Or x is greater than 0. That should technically be right. Moving this into Canvas has somehow it's corrupted the Moodle stuff just a little bit, and it no longer accepts that. But here's the good news. That's not even the best way to do it anyway. Look at the hint down here. if discrete values of x, so if individual values of x are excluded from the domain, the easiest way to write the domain is just to list the values that x cannot equal using the not equal to symbol. So what we would want to do instead, we just want to say x cannot equal -9 and x cannot equal 0. Here's how we would do that. X is not equal to -9, and this has to be an and statement, doesn't it? Because both of these things have to be true at the same time. It can't equal 9 and it can't equal 0. And x cannot equal, is not equal to 0. That's the preferred way of inputting the answer. And that will, guaranteed that'll be right in Moodle. Okay, if you have questions, bring them to class today. I totally understand that there was an issue with the technology, and you know, I'll be understanding. I can certainly, you know, if it's late, no problem, still get full credit for it. I will see you tomorrow. And if you have questions, just email me. Bye. Or actually, drop in today to the drop-in session. That would be even better. Today, this afternoon, if you can possibly make it, if you have any questions at all, drop into that office hour session of mine. Okay, see you later. Bye.